Good morning. Very good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Okay. Managerial economics. This is block 2, demand concepts and the analysis of demand. What is demand? Anyone? The demand for the firm or industry, the demand for the consumer, stockist, demand concept on various economic decisions. It is about size, pattern of market. Yes. Demand is a desire on the part of buyer. It is like willingness of a person to pay for it, ability to pay for that specified price, right? The main element, if you look at the significance of demand, it is very important in terms of its underlying in a whole range of planning which a firm undergoes in the production planning, inventory planning, budgeting, pricing, profiting, advertising, marketing of any given product. So all these various elements which enables to forecast or analyze the demand for the given product. Demand in one area of economics is assumed to be expensive. The decision makers involved makes tries to understand the demand for a given product, decide upon the various plans. It basically seems to be identify and measure the various internal and external forces which determines the sales. And once the demand analysis is done, it all is focused on creating, controlling, and managing the demand for the sustainability. Basically, demand means a desire. for a particular item or for a particular thing. It is sometimes, it is sometimes forcefully, which is driven by internal and external forces. And sometimes it is based on the various, forces, external forces, which are backed up by adequate purchasing powers. So demand is defined as a reference to a particular time, place, and price, and the given values to other variables on which it depends. Okay. Oh, it's not audible. 1 second. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Follow.
It is audible? Right. Someone say if it is not audible, please check your network and your connectivity at your end. Right. Okay. So now various forces which defines demand, we can coin it to be determinants or factors which influence demand. What are the determinants and factors? There are 7. One is consumer's income. That is, we consumer who wanted to buy. It all depends on our income, level of income, level of income groups that we belong to, and so is the demand for a given product. It changes from one level of income group to another level of income groups. And here you can see the demand of goods, monthly income on the y-axis and demand for goods on the x-axis, and the relationship it holds. The more the income, the more you demand for a good or goods. The lower your income, the lower is your demand for goods. So it is related. You can see how it goes upward direction. The more the income, the more is the demand. The more the lower the income level, the lower will be the demand. Okay. This you can generally understand by taking the example of, any good that you look forward to buy on a regular basis and your income level. Okay. And if you have sufficient income, sufficient price to pay for that, you will go for it, or you would rather be quiet to, in terms of buying, you will be quiet. Maybe the frequency of buying will be low because of your income level. So here the demand for that given product which you are planning to buy all depends on your income. This in turn will create demand for that product in the market, like consumer durables, luxury items, etc. There are various categories of products which you can, understand again differently. For each given category of product, the demand would be different. Your monthly income remains constant, but the demand for such category of products would differ. Like necessity products, which are categorized as necessity, like salt, rice, wheat, whatever your staple is regular, that is your necessity. How much ever the price could be, you are ready to pay if it is a necessity. But if it is a luxury item, on contrary, you would rather postpone it or you won't end up buying. Okay, so that is how your monthly income goes as one of the factor which determines the, products demand in a given market. Next is price of the commodity. Now, the very best example in today's scenario is price of the tomatoes. Okay, it is somewhere between 120 to 200 at some places, right? The same is in the case with onions where the prices are high. As compared to an household who could buy tomatoes of 5 kgs when the price is low, that's at 20 to 50, somewhere between 20 to 50. In this given situation where the prices are high, they may end up buying very, low, maybe below kg, or sometimes even no. They may not prefer to buy, right? So price also plays a significant role in deciding the demand for a product. The higher the price, the more is the consumption. The low is the consumption. The lower the prices, more is the demand for the product. So inversely related. All right. Then we have prices of the related goods. Prices of the related goods. Now here you can see a graph which shows us, and this is a very good example to understand here. And all of you, please do remember in managerial economics, graphical representation is very important, and all of you have to focus on learning the various graphs. See, this is x-axis which shows demand, and this is price, P1 and P2. P1, P2 are the prices. Q1, Q2 is the quantity demanded. As you can see, P1, P2, and the demand is going upwards when the prices are high. And P2 with quantity 1. So when the price of one commodity and quantity demanded of the other commodity, move in opposite direction, then we say the two commodities are complementary. And the examples for these complementary products are bread, butter, pen and refill, petrol and automobiles, tea and sugar, etc. It has impact on the other. If the sugar prices are high, or say tea prices are high, the sugar prices, the demand for sugar may fall down because the tea is not being purchased. Petrol prices are high, then the automobile industry, may see lower sales. So that's how the prices of the related goods, influence each other. Substitute goods also comes in the same purview, okay? Then we have taste and preferences. It's, taste and preference of a consumer for a given product totally depends upon, their spending habits, their lifestyle, etc. Many factors. Suppose if here is the example, you can see if jeans catch the fancy of consumers, the firms selling jeans will have greater demand. On the contrary, if jeans go out of fashion, then they may see less demand. All right. So they also try to influence the market demand with the help of their sales campaign. So taste and preferences of consumers keep changing as per the change in the fashion, fad, and fad, etc. As in when a new fashion comes in the market, people start, buying it. And so is the demand for that product is increasing. And when the fashion goes out, the taste changes. Accordingly, it will have impact on its demand. So demand for the product is based on the taste and preferences of the consumers, right? Next is advertisements. Yes. There may be a product which is lying in the racks of shops. You see everywhere in the supermarkets, hypermalls, shopping malls, shopping complexes, convenience stores, everywhere across you're seeing that product. But then You don't know about the product. You're not aware of the product. You're not aware of the product. What is it and what for it is? You do not know. You never heard about it. In that scenario, though it is something which is useful for you, you may not focus on this, which might lead to low demand, provided if the company does proper awareness campaigns like advertisements and the various forms of advertisements at various places. If they choose to, there are chances that the sales might increase. Though you don't do, intentionally, sometimes it is impulse buying behavior. In the marketing jargon, we say impulse buying, where we don't plan to buy a product exclusively. We don't plan to go to buy a product, but just because you see it and somewhere it is registered in your mind that it is useful to you in some or the other way, end up buying it. That is impulse. And that is where the advertisement plays a vital role. And the effective advertisement will lead to increase in sales. And increase in sales is again contributing to the fact to increase in demand. All right. Then we have consumers' expectations. How does the consumer expect? Expectations on the market would be probably consumers' expectations could be in the form. See, it is totally related to the income group or the future income which they belong to. Okay. And future prices of the goal and related products. It all depends upon the future, how he spends, what he's going to spend, what his income or her income would be probably in the next future. The demand for any commodity in a society, in the environment is all, always affected by the very significant factors. If you know those factors which have impact on your purchasing, decision making, then you can plan a proper strategy and ensure that the demand is sustainable. Okay, so that is one. And the lastly, population and its distribution. Now, the demand for any product again depends upon the number of buyers in the market, how many buyers you have. You release an iPhone or Mac tablet, you need to first understand how many buyers. Suppose in technological front, if you're releasing an new version of Apple or Mac or say an iPhone, then you need to understand first your segment, identify your number, that is a population, and based on that, their preferences to be understood so as to make a product which is going to have a high demand. And this particularly kind of products like iPhone, Mac, etc., you cannot impose on the other market segments. You need to understand first your segment requirement and then accordingly. Otherwise, you would become a failure. All right. And so are the marketers doing. You see how the population is understood and then the distribution happens accordingly. Now, this is not all just about the understanding of the segment to which you are making a product, but also the gender ratio, population ratio, children's, etc., etc. Okay, so all these various patterns to understand your population, your market, and then creating a demand for the given product would be more effective than that simply blindly making it possible, making things available in the market. Now it could be as I said, gender, it could be population, it could be that segment that you're targeting, fashion, anything. The prevailing condition you need to understand. Come the school, the month of June and July is all where, across India, the schools reopens. And there's a huge demand of school bags, shoes, socks, all related products. Now, this is the best example here to understand the various products which are in demand for that given month. Come the season of festival, there is a demand for those related products. Now, during COVID period, since there was no schools running offline, there was no demand for such products like school requirements. And this is the best example of, related goods. During that period, there was no demand for school bags, uniforms, and all the related products which were related to schools. Understand that is all about, the related goods. Okay. And then we have population and distribution as the last determinant. So all these are the various, levels or various ways which defines the demand for a given product. Okay. Now, these theoretical front, you understood the, various factors which influence the demand. But for an organization, for an industry to understand the demand, it is better for them to convert all these factors into an equation form and retain. And whenever they want to understand the demand for a given product, this equation should be used. And so is this equation that you're going to learn, which is called as demand function. This analysis here would enable one to understand how much quantity would be demanded at a particular point. Okay. And how much would be probably purchased okay. A demand function, as I said, is an equation which is used by the industries to understand the demand for a given product. In other words, it is expressed in mathematical terms, the relationship between demand for the product and its various determinants. This relationship, particularly when you try to relate it to the demand by an individual buyer, it is known as individual demand function. It is known as individual demand function. The same thing, if you apply for a market, then it is known as market demand function. This is known as market demand function. Okay. And this demand function, if you look at, is a formulation which specifies all the factors. Here you can see D of X, that is demand for a given product, is equals to F of function of P of X, Px, Py, Pz, B, W, A, E, T, U. Now see where Dx stands for demand for an item. Px is its own price. Py is the product price of the substitute. Like we've learned just, right? Tea and sugar, petrol and automobiles, right? Pz is the price of the complementary. B is the income of the buyer. W is denoted as wealth of the buyer. Wealth of the buyer again is nothing but the income level. Advertisement, price, taste, and U is not all the other factors which are not summed up here. Okay. That is demand function. Now, there are types of demands. This is very important again. The types of demand. First one, price. Normally, a larger quantity is demanded at lower price than higher price. So this has an assumption that when the price is low, the quantity purchased is more. And it also presents that when the prices are high, the quantity purchased is low. So it has an inverse relationship with the price and in the price and the demand for a given product. When the prices are high, the quantity purchased is low. When the prices are low, the quantity purchased is high. And then is income demand. What is income demand? It again refers to the quantity of a particular product which is purchased at a given income of a buyer goes up when they prefer to purchase good quality of goods. And demand for luxurious and expensive goods are related to income, as we just discussed earlier, that it all depends on income. If you have to buy a luxurious item, or it all again depends on taste and preferences, the priorities, necessities, categories of products, we call it to be. Okay. So at a given level, how much and what you can buy is, related. If the income of the buyer goes up, suppose the same person today earning 10,000, tomorrow earning 20,000, definitely his purchasing power is raised up. Okay, the purchasing power has been increasing. And with this 10,000 additional income, he would now start preferring to buy more number of items in that second category. And there comes a day, same 10,000 person, the person who's earning 10,000 today, maybe next month if he's earning 50,000, he may start choosing to look at the luxurious items. So that way, the income demand is related, it has an impact on the demand for a given product. Then we have cross demand. And this cross demand is about, relative prices of other goods, substitutes, and complementary products. Like you switch off to the other complementary products. Like for a given product, if the prices are very high, you switch off to the other complementaries. Suppose in the current scenario of the prices of tomato being higher, in order to complement it, you start buying raw mangoes or tamarind or any other items which complement this. You will start buying that in more. So here you see, try to understand, because of the high prices of this product is giving rise to the demand for the other complementary product. That is cross demand. How much the consumer would like to buy of a given community, however, also depends on the relative prices of the other related goods and such as substitute or complementary goods to a commodity. You can see, suppose, groundnut oil here, the examples of, oil and tea and coffee is given, like groundnut oil and sesame seeds oil. If you are a regular user of groundnut oil and a day comes when the groundnut oil, shoots up, then immediately you switch off to the next alternative oil, which is available at the same price or more or less the price is lower than this groundnut oil. You have other substitutes available, right? So that's how, if the substitutes are relatively costly, again, there will be a demand for the commodity. Otherwise, the substitutes will be available and the demand for the products will be increased. Demand for a commodity also is affected by some complementary products. In order to satisfy given want, two or more goods are needed in combination. Sometimes it is a situation arises where you need two or more goods. Okay. All these goods are, complementary goods. Suppose we've discussed already this petrol, pen and ink, tea and sugar, complementaries. Complementaries are always in joint demand. If in this joint product, any one product is becoming costly, the demand for the other product may also go low. Because of the demand in consumption of tea increases, then the price, the demand for the sugar also may rise up. So that's how the combination related products behave in a given market. Okay, next we have nature of demand. And these nature of demand can be discussed under various heads like direct demand, derived demand, domestics and industrial demand, autonomous and induced demand, perishable and durable goods demand, new replacement demand, individual market demand, total market and segmented market demand, short run and long run demand, company and industry demand. All these are various, ways to better understand demand. See, the example of perishable and durable goods. Durable goods you can retain. If today is there's no demand for the durable goods, yeah, you can stock them up and wait for the right time to sell them. But perishable goods, you cannot do that. You cannot take a risk. It's waste. You cannot retain them for longer period. Hence, you need to sell them out at whatever price, irrespective of the demand, etc. You need to end up, or otherwise it will go to scrap, right? So perishable goods are consumers themselves only once in a while, and these services also comes here. Service of goods or services, perishable or durable, both you can try to understand here. Perishable, you cannot retain, so hence you end up selling them at whatever best prices. And that is where the demand for that given product will be low, because it is one being the nature of the product is perishable, you cannot retain, and so the price, the demand would be low. And given the market condition also will have impact, will become as a determinant to decide upon the number of quantity to be purchased. New replacements, if you are planning to buy a product and instead of buying a new, if you could replace with your existing product, that could be another situation for a consumer, whether you want to replace it or buy a new one, which is a better choice and option for you. And based on this also, suppose and you look at these occasional seasonal offers during festivities, where you end up looking, advertisements wherein we are asked, you can replace old stuff with the new stuff. That way also you try to create a demand for a given products. Okay, for that given product, you try to create a demand, a replacement, new product or a replacement product. And the market is being so smart that there isn't class, right? You have to end up buying for electronics, especially some products being constant and the others star mark, right? Whatever brand that you happen to end up replacing, you will have to buy the same brand. So with that, you're trying to create demand for the product again. So that is that's how the nature of demand for various goods and services would be, like individual and market demand. Individual demand would vary from market demand, where market demand is contributing to the number of total buyers in a given market, whereas individual demand is just simply a commodity which is being assumed by an individual to be purchased. Okay. And the total market and segment market, again, here in means that the total market is the whole market, or the segment market is a small portion of the whole population, which you targets to, which you are probably targeting to sell for. Okay. Then we have short run and long run. Short run probably attributes to the various changes that you can make and which you cannot concentrate on, such as prices, the design, etc. In the long run, you can focus on changing price, design, texture, adding additional, ingredients and bringing out a new variety or version of the product, etc. But in the short run, you cannot focus. So again, demand depends upon the short run and long run demand. Okay. Company and industrial goods, company goods and industrial goods are the other, form of demand. Okay, so these are the various nature, of demands which we can discuss on. See, all around 9 are there. Okay, then we have another topic called law of demand. This is very important. I would suggest all of you to please do make a note of this. Law of demand is very important in economics. It is the relationship between the price and the demand. It is the relationship, I repeat, relationship between the price and the demand, and is known as the law of demand. And this is a situation which indicates that higher the price is, lower is the demand, and vice versa. You may ask or you may have queries on, there are situations where we see the higher the prices, the more is demanded. That's why and where the law of demand says other things all being constant. That means we are talking only on price and demand. When the prices are high, the demand is low. All things remain constant. That means have no influence on. If we start considering the other things which will influence the price and demand, then the law of demand doesn't apply over there. All right. So law of demand is simply the relationship between the price and the demand. The state here is the higher the prices, the lower is the demanded. Vice versa. Vice versa indicates here lower the prices, high is the demand. Now, in this context, you have seen many eminent economists have given their definitions, and out of which you can see Marshall's and Samuelson's definitions are here. Law of demand states the people will buy more at low price and less at high prices, other things remaining the same. In words of Ferguson, the quantity demanded varies inversely with price. In different ways, they have explained the same meaning of what we understood is higher the prices, lower is demanded. In their own style, they have presented the same meaning it communicates. Okay, then we have next topic under law of demand, demand schedule. What is demand schedule? The quantity demanded to change in price of a commodity is known as demand schedule. What is demand schedule? It is a response. The response means the change which happens to the quantity demanded when the price change in the price of a commodity is known. Okay, and this is here given in the table, like price per egg, quantity demanded ₹5, 10 per day, ₹4, 15 per day, 3, 2, 1, 20, 30, 70 respectively. Okay. See, in this scheduled demand table, what do you observe? When the price of the egg is ₹5, quantity demanded is 10. And when the price is 4, it is 15. And when the price is 3, it is 20 demanded per day. And when the price is 2, 30 are demanded. And when the price is ₹1, 70
Close to 70.
per day are demanded, right? See, when the price, if you put up quantity here and price here, okay, if the price is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and the quantity here against is 10, 20, 30, 40. When the price is 5, 10, and when price is 4, the quantity demanded is say 15. And the price is 3, it is 20. You see how it is flowing, the demand for a product in the graphical way if you look at. When the prices are lowered, the quantity demanded are more. The quantity demanded is more. And the price is 1, it is 70. If you look vice versa also, when ₹1, 70 is demanded. When ₹2, 30 is demanded. And when ₹3, it is 20. As you can see, when the prices are going high from ₹1 to 5, the purchasing or the quantity which is demanded is lowering from 70 eggs per day to 10 per day. This shows the law of demand. Okay, I hope it is understood and cleared. We have the graph in the next page. Let's see.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So demand curve, you can see, I just explained you this. See how the curve is going. A, B, C, D, E, and this. When the high the prices, low is demanded. Lower the prices, demand increases. Inverse relationship. Okay. Now look at the characteristics of law of demand. What does it possess in the form of characteristics? What we understood in this example are itself the characteristics. 1, inverse relationship. Yes, they are in inverse relationship, price and quantity. When price is high, quantity is low. When price is high, quantity is low. And when price is low, quantity is more. This is called inverse relationship. Price is the independent variable and demand a dependent variable because demand depends on the price. Demand is created, the significant factor which contributes for the quantity to be demanded is price. It is about the price. If the price is high, the quantity will be low. If it is low, the quantity of demand will be increasing. Consumption will be increasing. That is why we call price as the characteristic of law of demand. Okay. Other things remaining constant means, yes, if you start giving space for other things, then the law of demand will not work. Why? Because see, if other than price and quantity, if you concentrate and dilute other things, give space to other things to enter into this equation, then there may be several situations where it will be proven wrong. Hence, we confine ourselves in law of demand towards two elements only, price and quantity. Other all things like income level, taste, preferences, all other things. Now, there may be a person who may say how much ever the price of the tomato would be, ma'am, but I would prefer to buy and eat even if it is 500 rupees. It is taste and preferences, preference that guy is preferring. You want to buy whatever could be the cost. One will say, I don't mind spending 1,000 rupees because I am earning enough. I hope you are understanding here. So other things remaining same, why we are calling here again and again this point is because there may be several other determinants of demand, which we are putting as constant to understand the law of demand. Based on these two important factors, which is price and quantity. Whatever be the price, I will buy tomato. Whatever could be my, could be the price of a luxurious car or a home, I would end up buying. I don't mind it spending double or triple the amount what is being demanded. That is all constant. So the third point is other things remains constant. We are trying to understand the relationship between price and demand exclusively by putting all the other things is constant. Next is reasons underlying the law of demand. Now, we call it to be an inverse relationship, opposite direction. One is increasing, the other one is decreasing. Okay, so this is stated by law of demand, and this can be explained in terms of two. Income effect and substitution effect that you will be learning in the detail in the next classes. What is income effect? The fall in the price of a commodity leads to and therefore is equivalent to increase in the income of the consumer because he has to spend less for purchasing the quantity as before. As a part of the money, so gain can be used for purchasing some more items. Same in the same case, when the person's income is same, but the price of that product is high, that fellow will reduce his purchasing, okay, and cut down all his other expenditures. Why? Because he has to buy that item. Sometimes if you look at the aspect of necessity, only this happens. Like daily basis, pay fruits, vegetables, and not even, certain vegetables like staples, dal, roti, atta, chawal, shelter, etc. Though it is high, you end up buying. How do you end up buying? By cutting down the other expenditures. So the demand for the other product will be going down because of the demand for these necessity products, which are going high. In earlier case, the same man was able to buy the regular necessity, and with the remaining amount, he was buying some other products, like say fruits and, the organic vegetables, suppose not normal vegetables, but he's spending on organic vegetables. But next month, when he find his necessities are not been fulfilled, the prices are high for the necessities. So what he will do? Instead of buying organic, he will come back to the normal vegetables because the price of these necessity products have been increasing. So you can see the demand for organic product as compared to earlier month will come down because this fellow is not buying and so is the market. So that's how income effect, shows or has impact on the law of demand. Next, we have substitution effect. Substitution effect is the same case where we have, commodities for other commodities which have not become relatively, conserves. When the price of a commodity rises, other commodities will be used in its place. To some extent, we try to manage. Therefore, a fall in the price of commodity increased demand and rise in its price reduced demand. That is substitution effect. Okay, when the price of the commodity falls, the consumer tends to substitute the commodity for other commodities. Okay, so the substitute products will find a demand. If the price of rices are increasing, what is the next substitute? Chapati, roti, various wheat flours, whether it is wheat, jowar, you can switch to millets. All these will increase if there is increase in the price of rice in a given state. If the consumption of rice is more and suddenly the prices of the rice is increasing, then what is next alternative? So that's how substitution effect would be. So you have understood characteristics of law, of demand. One is inverse relationship, price, other things remains constant, reasons underlying the law of demand, income effect, and substitution effect. Then we have assumptions of the law of demand. With this, we will stop. Okay, assumptions. Now, the law of demand had its own, state, which within which it exists and is applicable. Beyond that scope, it is not. And what are those limitations? I mean, assumptions based on which the law of demand has been proposed. One, no change in consumers' taste and preferences. You may immediately have a question that how could that be possible in a market? Yes, I do agree. But the law of demand assumes that there is no. Assuming, see, for any given theory that is existing in the books or so, since every topic has got a lot of dimensions and its coverage is quite vast, we have to confine it to one level, right? To, into one, group, or in this purview only we try to understand. Only then you can better understand, provided other all given determinants or influences will remain constant. So that's how law of demand also is proposed by assuming certain things to be constant. And among those are, the first one is taste and preferences, which we assume that there won't be any change in the taste and preferences of the consumers. We also assume under law of demand that income would remain constant. That means that if I'm earning today 10,000, tomorrow also 10,000, next continuously it will remain the same number, 10,000. I am not changing. Only when I'm fixing these things, then only I can better understand the law of demand and its movements. If I do not, fix them all, then I may not end up understanding law of demand, because every node will give me a new challenge. Every inclusion will give me a new challenge. So I have to fix them. How can I fix them? I will assume that I won't change my taste and preference. I will not change my income. Price of other goods and services also, I assume that it won't change. It's so funny, but yes, I do agree. It is, but yes, when I'm understanding law of demand, I fix that other substitutes what are available, they will not change the prices. There should be no substitute, complementaries which are available, they won't change the prices, and substitutes, there won't be any substitute, which is not reality. But yet, in law of demand, I am assuming that there should be no substitute for the commodity. The commodity should not confer any distinction. The demand for the commodity should be continuous. That means continuous only happens when it is a necessity product. Okay, so that is my assumption. Consumer should not expect any change in the price of the commodity. So from the market perspective, price will remain same. And putting that into focus, all other things like income, taste and preferences, complementary substitutes, any other distinction products like demand being continuous, all these I'm assuming, and I am trying to focus on learning and understanding the law of demand. Only then you will be in a position to easily understand law of demand. Otherwise, you as a learner, when you sit with your pencil and pen and draw the law of demand and try to understand its determinants followed by its characteristics, you'll have number of questions if you are seriously into your work in understanding law of demand. An overviewer, a just learner, a buttifier would never face such situations. But otherwise, if you are seriously sitting at place and then you are trying to understand this law of demand, then you would definitely having number of questions. And to answer all of them and focus on your learning, you should assume these assumptions. If you fix these particularly, that there won't be any change in all this, then it will become convenient for you to understand the law of demand. I hope it is clear to all of you. Law of demand and its assumptions. We also have certain exceptions to the law of demand that we would look into the next class, the various approaches, changes in quantity and all. Okay. So with this, I'll stop the class here. I think you're due to the next class. Yeah. Thank you. Good learning.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.